All right. Fire them up. We go live in 5.
Proceed with the countdown.
10,
See if the party reached up.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Make like a
3, 2,
Get out.
1.
Son of a bitch!
And here we go.
Welcome back, everybody. It's another edition of Real Rants. It's your boy DJ here, and across from me is Todd Ogredose, aka Bod the Todd. Todd Bauer, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey everyone.
And sitting to my right, Vern.
Thanks.
You know him. He's the Thanos of the show. His name is Bernard Adams. Vern, take a bow for everybody.
Okay. I'm bowing. You can't see it. But I'm doing it.
God damn you, Vern.
Use your imagination.
I'm bowing, but I am looking up.
Like a dog?
No, have you ever seen Enter the Dragon where Bruce Lee told the guy to bow, but he
Oh,
always
yeah.
says it?
Wow, that's a deep cut, man. That's a really
I figured
deep
it was
cut.
a Ninja Turtle. Never lower your eyes to an enemy. This is a good start to this episode.
We're here to talk about Deadpool. We're already Enter the Dragon, Ninja Turtles. We're just all over the fucking place today.
Deadpool 2.
No, we're going to talk about the first one. And yes, Vern has corrected me. We are here to discuss Deadpool 2, which we literally just got out of seeing. Oh boy, my clock says 10:44, so about like an hour and a half ago. And
we can't get the blood off of us.
oh, my God, there's just so much to talk about. And I always say that there's so much to talk about, and then we end up just, not talking about a lot of the
Doing
shit.
what we do
But
best.
we're gonna try. We're gonna try to entertain all 30 motherfuckers of you listening to this.
Hi, Mom.
You loyal listeners. Fuck all the others. They're posers. If we have to do this for one person, then so fucking be it. We're gonna do it. God damn it.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it live.
Do it live. Fuck it.
But record it.
Okay. Yeah. And own it.
This isn't live at all. It's pre-recorded.
That is true. Maybe one of these days we can get a streaming thing going on here. We can actually just stream it live and then it'll be there. But we need more viewers. God damn it. That is something I want to push towards one day. Is actually do the live streaming with this, because then you can just get instant feedback from people, whether they're praising us or most likely telling us we suck. But either way, it would be a lot of fun.
I like the idea of somebody tuning into us just to tell us we completely suck.
It's the internet. I wouldn't put that.
Not at all.
This is America.
Yeah. It's America, damn
Let
it.
your voices be heard. Those voices say, shut up.
Anyway, Deadpool 2. Let's get right down into it. Non-spoiler reactions right off the bat. Then we can get into the spoiler review of it. Todd, Vern, whoever wants to go first. I'm usually the one that starts, but we can rotate this bitch like a game of Russian roulette.
All right.
So, Christopher Walken, this motherfucker.
Deadpool 2 has been a kind of a long time coming. We kind of knew it was happening as soon as the first one was kind of a sleeper hit, a big hit, whatever it was. But they've been doing a lot of advertising with it, but not revealing too much about it with it, which is, I guess, kind of easy to do given Deadpool's nature of just making dumb jokes. But first impression, it was a good movie. It was it's a laugh fest. even the serious moments you get laughs out of, which is always a little concerning if you're gonna have like a healthy balance. But I guess it's also not playing the game of like a mood whiplash where it's like here's something really deep and then something like a poop joke. But it's a consistently funny movie, and I can't say I really have too many complaints about it off the top of my head. We'll give it a little bit of time to sink in, and maybe I'll think back on it. But I enjoyed it.
All right, Vern, step up to the plate, big guy.
It's one of those movies where it definitely keeps you on your toes. Like Todd said, it's one of those where one moment you're serious, and the next thing you're just telling jokes. So, a lot of things were, is it better than the first one? And I have to say it's close, but not there. It was pretty good. I love the beginning sequence, and I think you did too, with the whole James Bond theme.
Spoiler! That's not really a spoiler, but yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. I love how they, still did the credits.
Yeah.
Kind of like what they did last time. And the recurring cast from the first one. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree with both sentiments. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was hilarious. I'd put it right up there on the same level as the first. It's hard to say if it's better or worse right now, just getting fresh out of seeing it. Because you got to kind of let it sit. You got to kind of watch it a couple more times. But first impression is, like I said, I fucking loved it. And it's right up there with the first one again. All the characters were great. The new additions were great. Some of the reoccurring ones that they let expand on and added more to their character, developed them out a little bit more. Some of the more humorous ones, like the taxi driver guy. I can't remember his name. But they did a little bit more with him, and he was fucking hilarious. But yeah, it was just really good. I think one of the things that I'll say, God, like right off the bat, I can't even point to a negative. Maybe if I really think on it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
It didn't do anything
it's still a little
really
fresh,
bad.
but it didn't do anything.
Because
I can't think of any scenes that were really scenes or moments that you were kind of like, this isn't really great.
Yeah, I'm sitting here just scratching my head, just trying to think if there was anything it did bad. If there was even and one of the things though too is even if it did something bad or convenient for the sake of the story, they kind of poked fun at it.
Yeah, they did a lot of lampshade hanging.
Yeah, they there was a lot of poking fun at themselves for some of the things in the movie, and so it's kind of hard to sit there and pinpoint any little thing. All right. We got Vern over here fucking train wrecking the show.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not cutting this shit out. So what is it? Come on, you completely derailed my train of thought here.
Actually, this isn't a spoiler, but the guy who plays Peter, because we see him in the trailer, and everything else, they actually use like his actual portfolio, like his actual profile picture,
his headshot.
Thank you.
Was that the actor's real headshot?
Yes, it was his real headshot.
Oh my god!
See, that's the one thing I like about this movie, because there was like different kind of surprises, lots of cameos.
Yes, cameos. We'll talk about that in the spoiler
we'll talk
section.
about later. Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I thought the movie was terrific. I thought it was definitely not a sophomore slump, which is what usually happens with sequels, that it doesn't live up to the original. This was not that. It fit in perfectly.
It had that same kind of feeling.
It definitely just felt like a broader continuation of the first movie. And like how Todd pointed out too with the advertising, they were really smart with the advertising and not giving a lot away, but still knowing how to advertise and using the fact that Deadpool does a lot of fourth wall breaking and just general just goofiness. When you got like the Bob Ross stuff that he did, the trailers for that barely showed like I think maybe 2 things from the movie. The rest of it's just a fucking Bob Ross.
Everything was kind of misleading.
Even like the stuff that we saw when we were out at CinemaCon for Deadpool 2 was they didn't give anything major away, but it was still really good advertising.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and like Todd said when we were at CinemaCon, they didn't even reveal anything there. I think the little bit that we got was like a little bit of the fight scene between him and Cable in the convoy thing, which has been in the trailers. So we really didn't get a lot from there. It was just all, like you said, it's all like a big gag with the promotional stuff leading up to this. I mean, look how many posters they've released, and I have a big one that none of you can see. I have like a big, almost 6 foot tall one on my room or in my room down here. But if you've been to the theaters, you probably have seen it. It's a big thing, like Thanksgiving Day painting style poster, and it's all of them with Deadpool holding the turkey and he's with Cable. So, no, I just thought the movie was really well done. I wasn't sure how it would turn out because if you remember, there was a big stink when they were in the middle of filming it or about to film because Tim Miller, the director of the first one, didn't do this one.
Okay.
And there was a lot of people that thought that maybe the film would suffer because of it. Because they got a new director in, not doing the same, would the new director keep up the same kind of, style and pacing and feel of the movie? I can't remember the director's name for this movie right off the top of my head. But he did a phenomenal job. If you didn't know that walking into the movie, you would have thought it was the same director. Everything, the look, feel, tone.
I wonder if Ryan Reynolds has something to do with that too.
David, what's the director's name was David?
I'm gonna go with Leitch.
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 Yeah, however that's pronounced, but he did a really good job keeping the Deadpool style from the first movie into this new one and expanding it a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's it for just the non-spoiler stuff. We can get into talking about the movie itself, kind of breaking it down. You look excited, Vern.
I'm very excited.
You should have seen his face all light up. He looked like a little kid. He's like, "Yay! Get to talk about spoilers now."
So why don't we smash down that spoiler button?
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, it is the spoiler section of this review. If you have not seen the movie, please turn us the fuck off right now, or mute us, or do whatever, throw your computer out the window, whatever mood you're in right now. It don't matter. Just turn us off, pause us, go see the movie. It's only $10. That's like that's like not even a third of a tank of gas.
This
Just
analogy is breaking down.
Yeah, my mind is slowly.
I'm gonna spoil everything right now. Everybody turns to dust.
Oh no, not again!
Oh no, we were spared.
We were spared so we can do this review.
Did you see the Stephen Colbert thing with Deadpool?
No.
Deadpool showed up in one of Stephen Colbert's monologues, and he does part of the monologue for Stephen Colbert, and then he turns to dust.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. But yeah, if you haven't seen the movie yet, now would be the time. If you don't want to hear spoilers, please hit the pause button, go see the movie, come back, listen to the rest of the review, and either be entertained or be completely just turned off by what we're saying, and in which case,
Be angry at us, but still keep listening.
Yes, be angry. Just use your anger and hate and get more people to hate us. The more views, the better. And your hate makes us strong.
If we can't become famous, we'll become infamous.
And call us at 555-1234.
Basically, the plot of this movie is Deadpool. It starts off, Deadpool wants to start a family with his girlfriend, Vanessa. She gets fucking killed. Not dusted by Thanos. But she gets killed. Deadpool kind of feels down about himself, wants to kill himself, can't. And sees that there's another mutant that's in danger of being harmed by people. He goes there with Colossus and Negasonic. They try to help this kid. They fuck things up. Wade and the kid get imprisoned. Cable shows up. Cable fucks some shit up because Cable wants the kid because the kid is responsible for the death of his family in the future.
Along with all the other crapload of deaths.
Yeah. A lot of fucking shit gets fucked up in this movie. I know I'm going to say that a lot, but there are some brutal fucking fights that we'll get to in this movie. And the convoy is there's a convoy that's taking the kids somewhere. I can't remember what they said in the movie.
They were just changing
out
locations.
Of the icebox, but I think they were just moving them to another secure location. There's a big fight that's on the convoy that you see in the trailer for the movie. X-Force comes in, X-Force goes out really fucking quick. And
the horror.
Juggernaut shows up and ends up helping the kid. Kid makes a heel turn. You think he's gonna be good throughout the whole movie. He makes a heel turn because he feels disrespected by Deadpool for kind of turning his back on him in Icebox prison. So the kid and Juggernaut set out on their revenge mission to go kill the headmaster of the orphanage where the kid was originally at, because the kid was touched by this guy and really just fucking tortured. I think a little bit of both was going on there. And then they, basically you get the whole end climax of the movie, their big fucking fight. Deadpool saves the day. And so that's the plot in a nutshell. So let's talk about some of the characters in this movie. We'll just start right off the bat. I mean, Deadpool's Deadpool.
I know you guys can't see this, but every once in a while, Vern realizes something or he learns something new, and he gets a very happy, excited face, and either I or DJ will see it, and we're just kind of baffled because we don't know why Vern is excited. It's like when you walk into your home and your dog sees you.
Yes,
that's kind of Vern's reaction when he finds out something new.
I found out who the other redneck is. There's a lot of cameos. Let's just put it that way. I'll add that to the cameos.
What Vern is referencing here with the rednecks was when Cable comes back from the future, not in a DeLorean, but when he comes back from the future,
or a TARDIS,
or a time stone. Ooh, yeah.
We're so nerdy.
When he shows up in the present day, he shows up in the middle of nowhere, next to where these hillbillies just talking outside one of their trucks is at, and one of them is played by Alan Tudyk, who played K2SO in Rogue One, and I forgot what he's
a Wash in
Serenity.
Yeah, he's in Serenity. And so Vern is over here busting a nut because he just figured out who the other redneck is. So please indulge us, Vern. Who is the other redneck so we can put this train back on the rails?
Well, first I was trying to figure. Oh, I can't say that because we haven't even talked about that yet.
It don't fucking matter.
All right, fine. As some of you know, there's a few cameos, and one of the big cameos is Juggernaut. And I was trying to find out who voiced Juggernaut, but it's not listed on IMDb. But the other redneck was Matt Damon.
Was it really?
Yes.
Matt Damon's
Holy
really
shit.
trying to cameo in as many superhero movies as he
Yeah,
can
because he was
now.
in Thor. He played Loki in Thor.
Bad actor Loki.
So that's where you saw me go.
All right, characters right out of the bat. We really don't need to talk about any of the ones in the previous movie. But since you were going on about cameos just right now, let's jump into the X-Force, which everybody has seen in the trailers for this movie. The X-Force is fucking brilliant. Well, the first cameo is Terry Crews, who plays what's his name?
He plays Bedlam.
Yes, and he actually has a really cool power where he can control electrical fields, and even the electrical fields in a person's head to give them headaches or whatever, to basically
Make them feel
fuck with,
anxiety.
yeah, make them. He can just basically fuck with the electrical field in their brain, which I thought was really cool. And then what was the Zeitgeist, who could he's like a xenomorph and just pukes acid.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's immediately what I thought of. Oh, he's gonna pull a fucking face hugger out of his pants.
There was Vanisher.
Yes. And there's a lot of good gags with Vanisher in that. What's her name? The one her power is luck. What? Domino. There's her.
Domino, who was really cool.
Yeah.
They
She
did a
actually
good
turned
job.
out to be
They did
pretty,
a good job with Domino.
And then there's Pete.
Peter. Peter, yeah.
Who is the average guy. He kind of looks like a bank accountant if you've seen the trailers for this movie.
Just shows up because he liked how the ad sounded.
He just showed up. He just thought it sounded cool. To which he gets hired. To which Pinder, I think that's his name. Is it Pinder? The taxi cab guy?
Dupinder.
Dupinder.
I believe, because I looked up his name too. And we're horrible at... There it is.
Yeah.
Dupinder.
We're always terrible.
Yeah, we're terrible at names.
Okay, yeah, Dupinder. The whole movie, he's been kind of like blowing Wade Wilson to join his team and let him be an assassin, and Wade keeps telling him no. So when this guy shows up, just because he liked the sound of the ad and he's just a regular person with no powers, and Deadpool's like, oh, okay, well, you're in. Dupinder's in the background and he gets all fucking pissed off. He's like, oh, come on! I thought that was hilarious.
I'd be pissed off too. Did we talk about Shatterstar?
No, yeah,
we didn't talk
his
about
power
that.
is he could do anything that anybody else could do, just better. Because he's from a different planet. So let's talk about the fate of X-Force. There's this big build-up, and they're all on this. They're all on a plane or helicopter. I think it's a plane. Mm-hmm. And they are going to parachute down to rescue Firefirst out of that movable convoy. To which Cable is also trying to get to Firefirst too. So they're trying to do two things there, but they're going to parachute down to get to the convoy. And there's this big epic moment where they're all in the, or pseudo-epic moment, I should say. There's nothing really epic. Where they're all in the bay of this plane, and that's where they come up with the name X-Force, like you've seen in the trailer. All the X-Force people are there, even Vanisher, who you just see is just a backpack floating. It's just an invisible person wearing a backpack. They all jump out of the plane. The best one, after they're all going, Peter is like, he's afraid to just jump, so he like gets and like sits down on the little ramp of the plane and is like scooting towards the edge, and then he gets just shoved out.
You have to mention the wind. Because Peter was scared because it's like, it's a little windy.
Oh yeah, there's some sort of wind thing.
Plays a big factor in the movie.
So they all missed the convoy. Let's just right off the bat, they all missed the convoy.
Not all of them.
Oh yeah, Domino makes it because her power is luck. So she ends up beating the odds and actually makes it and lands on the convoy. Deadpool runs into a sign, into like a billboard kind of sign. Mm-hmm. What was the other one? What was the
Shatterstar.
Shatterstar goes into a helicopter blade.
Yeah, Shatterstar gets cut up by helicopter blades. Bedlam gets
hit by a bus.
Yeah, he gets fucking hit by a bus.
It was like watching an episode of It was like watching the movie Final Destination with mutants.
Zeitgeist falls into a wood chipper.
And as he's getting ground up, Peter goes over there to help him and to pull him out. But then Zeitgeist ends up throwing up acid on Peter's arm and it starts eating him. It was just fucking great. They built this whole crew up throughout the trailers, and they're just annihilated in 30 seconds.
They team wipe it.
So that was them. That was literally X-Force. Oh, the one we forgot to mention, Vanisher.
Oh yeah, that's right. How can we forget Vanisher?
So all you see is this. You just see the fucking parachute attached to nothing floating down, and it's going right towards power lines, and the fucking thing hits the power lines, and it's for a quick second. Almost if you blink, you miss it. But it's Brad fucking Pitt as Vanisher. You see him for a split second get electrocuted, then he disappears again. Oh my god, so many
I think he survives at first, and then his parachute comes down, and it's just on fire.
But, what were some of the other new characters just besides X-Force?
We had Negasonic's girlfriend.
Oh, Yukio.
Yukio, who, if you know comics, is Surge. And she doesn't really...
Surge!
They don't do a lot with her until the very end climax battle.
They didn't do a lot. They actually didn't do a lot with Negasonic.
Yeah.
This time. She's just kind of there.
They're kind of just side characters.
Being a lesbian and... like, that's her main role. That's her main role in this movie, is to announce, this is my girlfriend.
She's still pretty snarky with Deadpool, which is always fun.
Yeah.
They
do
go
have
back
good
and forth with those two is always a good.
And it just kept ripping on her as far as name goes. They called her Justin Bieber, and Deadpool at one point called her 11.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that right away too. I heard it. It just didn't register. That's fucking hilarious.
Who else was new in this? Well, Cable.
Yeah, there's a big new guy.
Black Tom Cassidy.
There's a running gag in this movie with Black Tom Cassidy, who's actually a white guy.
Yeah, he's actually an
Native
Irish
American
guy.
or Irish guy.
Yeah, because he's Banshee's brother.
Uncle?
Yeah.
Uncle.
Is it Uncle?
I think it's Uncle.
Okay. I'm going to trust you in that one.
But he shows up as one of the other prisoners. They make a big deal when they're in the prison area that the old thing of find the strongest guy, the biggest guy in the prison, and make him your bitch. and so Firefirst is all about this. And
apparently he hides a lot of things.
Yeah, he starts. Oh god, I forgot about the ass pen. But I really like that scene where he starts messing with them to make him his bitch, and they just keep punching him in the face.
Yes.
Like he tries to
to go up right away.
Yeah, he tries to threaten him, or he tries to go after him with his pen that he's got. That he's smuggled in.
As he's in the middle of saying, you gotta make the biggest guy your bitch, he's in the middle of saying that, and he just gets fucking decked right in the face.
Down, which I loved. And the whole time, they're Deadpool, who doesn't have his powers because of the inhibitor collars they're wearing, is dying of cancer. And then they're, stabbing him in the hand and just fucking him up.
And we have to talk. No, not that we have to talk about. We got to bring up. What was it? The prison wallet, hiding things in his ass.
Oh,
that pen becomes a big pivotal point.
He had more than one. That's the thing.
He always for a guy who could roast everything with his hands. He's always got a pen on him that he does shit with.
Some of the other new characters. God, I'm trying to think. That might be it, unless we're gonna.
No, they rehashed a lot of old characters from the first movie, which was great.
Yeah, obviously Vanessa's in there.
Yeah, Juggernaut is a kind of a new.
Juggernaut's
character
new.
That shows up.
He kind of almost looks like how he did in X-Men 3.
I think he was bigger.
He's bigger.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, he's definitely way fucking bigger.
They keep kind of like the
The
metalish
general
helmet.
look of his outfit looks the same.
It's kind of a mix between how he looks in the comics and how he looked in X3. If you merge those two together, is kind of how he looks in this.
Because he's like abnormally monstrous.
Yeah, he is huge. But his helmet looks more like the comics do.
Looks more. Well, it was more metalish instead of leather.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't leather in X3. It was metal. It looked.
I'm talking about
you're talking about like the comics.
Yeah, in the comics in general.
It looks more. It's still, I guess, metal, but it's like orange.
Like it looks like. I was gonna say, like in the movie, it looks very much like. I don't want to say like. It's like metal, but it almost has like a rock texture to it. But yeah, it's metal. If you've seen X3, it looks very similar.
First of all,
but just
we're
a little
sorry
wider.
you saw X3.
Aren't we all? Don't sit there and say we're sorry you saw. Like you haven't seen it. like you weren't there opening day watching one of our friends fall asleep and wake up at the end with "Hello Moira" and go, "What the hell was that all about?"
Admit it. Confess. Shame.
We all saw X3.
I'll confess that if that movie had about 10 to 15 minutes more of just explaining what the fuck was going on, it wouldn't have been a bad movie.
I don't care.
It's not even like a terrible movie. It's just especially after the second one, which was so fucking good.
But
anyway, let's back to Deadpool.
Back to Deadpool. I think that's all the main characters.
Yeah, because they don't have too much because
our returning character, Blind Owl comes back.
Yeah. T.J. Miller's back. What'd you say his name was?
Weasel.
Again? Weasel. He's back, and there's a funny exchange between him and Cable, where Cable is torturing. He captures Weasel to torture him for the location of Deadpool. And
he just gave him up.
Yeah, right away.
Sung like a canary.
There's no build up. There's no tension. I mean, Cable's like, first things first. Like, I'm gonna bend things that aren't meant to be bent. Right away, Weasel's like, you don't even need to go to 2.
It's like, you don't even need to go to 1. I'll tell you exactly where they are.
Yeah.
That's just lazy writing.
But yeah, so I liked the introduction of some of the new characters in this. I thought they fit really well into this little Deadpool universe that they're building, which is
the new characters were fun, and the old character. It was good to see the old characters.
Yeah.
There wasn't anyone that you were like, oh, they brought this person back, or like, what the hell is with this new character? Characters fit, and they were all pretty fun.
Yeah, they didn't feel shoehorned back in. I thought some of Weasel's, a couple of his lines were a little bit,
I thought they were old.
Like the avocado line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one was...
callback joke.
Yeah, it was a callback from the first one. He did have some good new ones, though, about a shirt cocking it.
A whole very weird scene.
Yes. So there's a scene in this movie. Deadpool gets cut in half.
He gets ripped in half.
Yeah, ripped in half. Juggernaut rips him in half.
I liked that part where because Deadpool like fanboys over Juggernaut,
yes.
And he's even like yelling out like comic numbers at him, and Juggernaut just walks up to him and he's like, "I'm gonna rip you in half," and then he just tears him in half.
So Deadpool goes back to Blind Al's to recover, and everybody comes in, and you can't see Deadpool from the waist down for a little bit.
I was going to be mad if they didn't show it.
So they eventually get to showing him, and it's just this grown man body with little child legs, and you can at a certain moment you can see his dick just hanging out. And T.J. Miller, Weasel, at one point refers to it as shirt cocking it. He's like, dude, you're just gonna sit there and shirt cock it?
It was such a bizarre. It's like they were like, "Hey, you know that tiny hand joke from the first one?
How can we ramp that up?
How can we revisit that and make it worse?" And they found out a way.
They found a way to do it and still make it fucking hilarious. Because even Cable's like, if I needed, like, now I know what a grown man with a child's penis or with child balls look like, or something like that.
When he gets up and starts walking,
I'm like, oh my god, he's doing it. Go get him, big guy. This little, like, child-looking ass and legs on top, like, big man-sized torso. It is the most awkward, disturbing.
It is a weird
fucking,
scene.
but somehow funny as fuck.
the whole audience was laughing.
Oh my god, they were losing it. It was so bizarre. Like, you never, like, out of anything you've ever thought you'd ever see in a movie, that had to have been like not even on a list.
It was like something out of Total Recall.
Yes, it was so fucking bizarre, but so goddamn funny. I know we're missing more jokes that were said in there. So I think even Domino made a joke about something. They did do the Basic Instinct gag though, where Ryan Reynolds is sitting there and he uncrosses his legs and you just see it flop out for a second, and then when the camera cuts back after getting everybody else's reactions, they cut back and he recrosses his legs again. And even Weasel makes a comment like, "Oh, that's his basic instinct." Oh god, it was so fucking. It was such a funny fucking scene.
There was a lot of pop culture. There was a lot of pop culture in
there.
there.
I mean, it's a Deadpool movie, so it works a lot like an Airplane movie, where there's jokes a mile a minute.
That's what these movies do feel like. They feel like Airplane mixed with just a comic book like movie. Like they're self-referencing, they're self-deprecating.
Yeah, nothing's really sacred at all.
Nothing.
They'll make a joke about anything.
Especially the post-credits to this movie. There's nothing sacred in this fucking movie.
There's the stuff that he calls Cable because, you know, that's being played by Josh Brolin. And, you know,
calls him Thanos at some point. Makes a comment to One Eye Willie at some point.
And then I did like the when he's talking to the crew and he's like Black Widow.
Oh, yeah.
And how he kept talking about how Cable was racist because
because he killed Black Tom Cassidy.
He just killed him because he was black.
He's like, he was my friend. He has a weird loyalty.
One of the other mentions to the Avengers that they made in there too was when Deadpool was wrestling with Juggernaut. He's fighting him and like he's like on his back, like trying to like stab him with his sword. And he's like, the sun's getting really low, big guy. He realizes it's not working, so he's like, oh, fuck it.
At some point, he takes a jab at the DC universe.
Oh, yeah.
With Cable, he says, you're dark and gritty. Are you sure you're not from the DC universe?
And then Cable, that's when they're fighting in the icebox prison. Cable's like, who are you? And right away, Deadpool, I'm Batman. God, there's just so much shit. There's so much good shit.
It's hard
in this
to even
movie.
like
you can't quantify it because it is almost like a mile a minute with the jokes, but they almost all of them fucking landed.
He even made a crack at Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, something about he's basically
he didn't have his powers. That's when he had the collar on, and so he says he's a bow and arrow away from being Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah, like give me a bow and arrow and basically Hawkeye or some shit like that. All right, special effects. We've talked about characters. Let's jump into the special effects for this movie. I would say they were on par, if not better, I think, than the original Deadpool.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely better.
And I think the increase in the budget shows it, because this movie was made, I think, for like 110. I can't remember what the original was made for, but it definitely wasn't made for that much.
Yeah, they do a bit more with Colossus. They even makes a joke at some point that when Colossus and Juggernaut are gonna fight, and he's like, "Oh, get ready for a great CG fight."
Yeah.
But they do a lot with, like, they do have a whole fight between Juggernaut and Colossus. They have Negasonic use her power a bit more.
We got to see Yukio use
Yeah,
her.
we saw Yukio use
like
Firefirst. It was pretty badass power.
Domino, I love the scene with Domino when she lands and she improvises.
Oh yeah. And in the background, you hear Wade Wilson. You hear Deadpool saying, like, "This shit is just not gonna work. Your luck is not a superpower." And she's like going all over, and shit's happening around her. And she's just making her way through it as he's bitching over the headset that what she has is not a power.
There was one part when because Deadpool pisses Colossus off in this movie, and Colossus just doesn't want anything to do with him anymore, and so they make a "say anything" reference, of course, it doesn't. Deadpool's trying to get Colossus to help them. So in the climax of the main battle, Deadpool's all effed up. He's got like a part of a fence going through his head, and Colossus like comes in, and there's like a loving moment where they're like holding each other.
It was a very disturbing moment. It really was.
What was
Like cradling, like Deadpool's cradling his cheek. In his hand.
Because you don't know if it was just Deadpool or if it was because Deadpool had something through his head.
Yeah. And there's another part. What I was thinking was, there's a part where two characters are talking, and in the background you see like, I think it's in that part because it's Colossus and Deadpool are talking. But if you look in the background, you see Juggernaut pick up Cable and just like huck him.
Yes.
And it was just something I was like, I had to pay attention to the background more than the foreground because it was just funny that like they're having this touching moment, and in the background you're just seeing Cable get decimated. But it was stuff like that. The special effects, they didn't feel like they stuck out. Like they didn't feel like impractical.
No, everything kind of blended seamlessly. There were times with some of like the car wrecks, and you could kind of see it a little bit.
Oh, Juggy's butt didn't look up.
Oh yeah.
Why are you guys paying attention?
I'm glad you were close in on his.
I was gonna say, why are you guys paying attention to Juggernaut's ass? And I remember there is a whole scene.
There's specifically a scene where you full on.
It was kind of a way to defeat him.
Juggernaut. Okay, Juggernaut shoves a cable, electrical cable up. Hold on, let me start this over. Colossus shoves an electrical cable up Juggernaut's bare ass after he's been kind of hogtied by Surge.
Yeah,
and then he falls into a
I think Negasonic
water,
smashes him into it.
Yeah, like a fountain, and then he's just getting electrocuted. Which, if you look, when they're all leaving at the very end during the Happy Triumphant moment, well, he's still being electrocuted.
Yeah,
he's still in there getting shocked. So the whole time he's just been getting shocked. God, yeah, that was a bit weird that they did that. Like, it just friggin' gave him an electric enema.
Yeah, what's the best way to take it?
Shove something up. Yeah. There was a lot of stuff about shoving things up people's asses in this movie. Because Juggernaut...
There's a lot of ass humor in general in this movie.
Because Juggernaut made the comment about shoving...
Oh, that's right.
He's like, I'm going to shove the red guy up the old guy's ass. Like, there's a lot of sodomy jokes in this movie. But the music, the choice of music again in this movie was flawless.
They were all over with it because there's like 80s hits and stuff going on. Like Take On Me was a big thing in it.
And actually a really good acoustic version of that song towards the end I didn't see coming. The movie, or that song's been all over the place recently though.
Mm-hmm. The music choices in general were pretty fun. Yeah,
it kind of felt the same as the original where there's some rap in there. There's some dubstep in there because there's a whole big dubstep joke in there.
And he always introduced the dubstep, and then all of a sudden they start playing.
They start playing dubstep.
But yeah, there were some really good musical choices in there. Like, I can't other than the ones we just mentioned, I can't really think of them offhand. Oh well, no, there's the one, the Peter Gabriel. In Your Eyes. Because it's the John Cusack.
Yeah.
What the fuck is the movie?
Say Anything.
Yeah, that was it. Say Anything. Where he's holding the boombox up, but he's holding his
little tiny
little iPhone with the boombox.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's playing that song.
Why would you have a boombox?
Although, why not? It would have. Who cares? It's Deadpool. You could have just been could have just been holding one and then just chuck it to the side. Like, who gives a fuck? But oh god, yeah, the
credits music was good when they were playing the credits.
What was the credits? It was
they had that X-Force, the Deadpool rap X-Force remix.
Yes, which I have to look up and download. Somebody will have it. It'll be up somewhere.
Somebody's gotta have it. Somebody's gotta have it. I think is it on this soundtrack, or are we talking about the other one? I can't remember now.
The Deadpool X-Force rap song. Yeah.
Excuse me.
But speaking of music, before we jump on further down the thing here, there were musical cues at the end that were part of the score for the dramatic moments of the movie where Firefist is lighting shit on fire, and it's this big kind of epic battle moment.
He's still my favorite though because of what he said.
But there is, and if you've seen any sort of big blockbuster movies, the big epic scores. They'll usually have a chorus behind it that it's kind of elevates the music up a little bit more and everything. Well, they do that in this. But you could clearly understand what they're saying. These two missed it. I heard it. All this big epic battle shit's going around or going on, and in the background you could hear the choral epic music, but they're saying "Holy shit balls, holy fucking shit balls."
Yeah, it was it's supposed to be that Latin chanting that you hear.
In other movies, you can't discern what the fuck they're saying because it's usually in some other language, and they just use it to ramp up the epicness of a scene. They do it all the time,
like in a horror movie.
Yeah, in a horror movie. I know they've done it a couple times for Bond movies. I've heard it done, but they usually do it in big epic moments, and they did it this time. Except they did it intentionally with
surprise. It's a joke.
Yeah, they turned it into a big fucking joke, which was great. It was. I was dying. And as I looked over, I realized you guys didn't hear it. I'm like, oh my, do you hear what they're saying? I'm like,
you're too busy paying attention to Rob Liefeld jokes.
Oh my.
Which, okay.
That was hysterical.
Rob Liefeld, who, if you don't know, created Deadpool. But Rob Liefeld is notoriously a bad artist. Who has trouble, drawing, hands and feet. And loves pouches.
Pouches, yeah.
Which I'm surprised they didn't make a joke about
huge
pouches.
Torsos. And,
yeah. Just he's Rob Liefeld's an interesting guy. But they make a joke at some point about the writing being lazy. They make a bunch of jokes about the writing being lazy.
Just lazy writing.
As a writer, I fully enjoy. And at some point. I think they're talking about Domino's power, and he says that's lazy writing. It sounds like someone It sounds like it was made up by someone who can't draw feet.
Because didn't Rob create X-Force?
I would think so. He created a bunch of those characters.
But yeah, it was great what you just pointed out, that any sort of like Deus Ex Machina moment where that would come up and it happened, that they would just they would literally just poke fun at it and be like, that's just lazy writing. Anything that got them out of a bind, that's just lazy writing.
And I think we're going to be using that a lot this year.
Yeah. All right, well, we're getting towards the end of this, wrapping it up. And it is late, so I want to get these guys out of here. Final overall thoughts of this movie. Todd, we'll start with you. Since we've discussed it a little bit in depth here. What are your final thoughts? Spoiler final thoughts.
Spoiler final. First of all, I have to give the movie great appreciation for specifically acknowledging my name.
Yeah, there was a running Todd joke in
and
that
how no one should ever be named Todd. So I appreciate that, creators of Deadpool too. But like I said in the beginning, I enjoyed it. It's good for if you just want to go laugh. It's a fun movie to just kind of kick back and not take super serious and just kind of laugh at. So I enjoyed it. I'd suggest, especially if you've seen the first one, go see the second one. Like DJ said before, it's kind of a seamless transition from that one into this one. So yeah, in general, really enjoyed it. There's a few really good laugh out loud moments, and yeah, it just kind of carries the tradition of the Deadpool movies.
Vern, balls pass to you.
Okay. I thought this movie was a beautiful disaster. It was like the in living color of the comic book cinematic world.
Not to cut you off, it's funny that you mentioned in living color. There's that numerous times when Ryan Reynolds was getting beat up in the icebox. Mm-hmm. I kept thinking Fire Marshal Bill. For whatever reason, I kept getting
probably because of the yellow
suit and him just getting like thrown around like a fucking dummy.
I can totally see that now.
But anyway, sorry to cut you off.
But yeah, I felt it was like the in living color of the cinematic universe because it poked fun at everybody, and then it brought out a lot of things. Like, I still love Russell's line about how, you know, have you seen any plus-size superheroes? And, yeah, where are the plus-size superheroes, you know, or any size superheroes other than, you know, just, you know, the cut ones. Yeah.
Cut and beautiful. If you're ugly, you're a villain.
Blob. But overall, I really enjoyed the flick. It was good.
Oh, you know what? Before I go into my final thoughts, I completely forgot about the post-credits stuff in this movie. Well, to jump into this really quick, the post-credits scene. There's a few of them in this movie.
If I can turn back time.
Deadpool has Teenage Negasonic and Yukio fix Cable's time jumper thing. Yeah. So he actually goes back in time to save his girlfriend from being killed, because he's able to kill the guy before he actually shoots the gun and hits his girlfriend. So he fixes that. Well, then he goes back again into X-Men Origins Wolverine, the first movie of all that, and kills himself as the awful Deadpool in that. And when he does it, he just kind of peeks around a corner and like waves at Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
This is okay.
And, like, makes a joke. He's like, I'm just here fixing the timeline. Then he proceeds to unload 10 more bullets into the corpse of him as Deadpool. Then we flash forward again into supposedly real life at Ryan Reynolds' house, to where he's picking up the script to Green Lantern.
It's like, welcome to the big time.
Yeah, he's like, welcome to the big time. And all of a sudden, you hear a gunshot and blood just splatters on the script, and Ryan Reynolds drops dead, and it's Deadpool behind him, killing himself.
Deadpool killed himself twice.
Yes, he killed himself a lot in this movie.
He wants to make sure that he's really, really sorry.
But there were, I think that was it for the post-credits stuff. It was more self-deprecation on his part, which is so good. But my final thoughts on this movie as a whole, like now sitting back and like letting it sink in and digesting it and talking about it, God damn it, I have to go see this movie again. It was such a great movie. Definitely not a family movie. Obviously, it's Deadpool. It's rated R. If your kids can handle that sort of thing, fine. But there really wasn't there wasn't a lot of nudity. I mean, you see Ryan Reynolds' baby dick in a scene because of him being like cut in half. But it's only brief. It's like you blink and you miss it sort of thing. But it's just basically there's a lot of swearing in there, so that's the whole getting the family thing out of the way since there's a big family reference in this movie. But it was terrific. It was loads of fun. If you enjoyed the original, you'll definitely enjoy this. It's right up the same alley. The performances were all good. Ryan Reynolds was once again just in top form, giving maximum effort as Deadpool. The returning cast was great. The new cast fit right in seamlessly. It was just so much fun. And like I said, if there was anything that I would say, if there was anything wrong with the movie, it was maybe with certain things with the writing, but they poked fun at that, like just how things were done easily, and then Deadpool would show up and just be like, well, that's lazy writing, or somebody would make a lazy writing comment. So, it's just a movie just to sit back and just have just a fun time watching. It's definitely the I would say the most fun movie this year. I think this tops Ready Player One for me, which I said was the most fun I'd had at the cinema this year. I think this tops that for me. Is it better than Infinity War? No. It's not better than Infinity War. Infinity War is a fucking monumental movie in comic book movies in general and all of cinema. This is not better than it.
It's the
but it's
movie of its kind.
Yeah, but this movie is really, really fucking good, and it's basically well worth your $10. There's movies that aren't worth your money. There's movies that are. This is worth your fucking money at the theater. And yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up with that for Deadpool. God, it was a lot of fun, and we'll be doing this again in about a week. We got a quick turnaround this week because we got Solo next week. If you guys don't puss out.
What? I'm seeing it Thursday night.
All right. Oh, you already got your tickets for it?
My friend, he's a huge Star Wars fan, so we always go as a group.
Okay.
I guess I'll go watch a Star Wars movie.
I'll probably end up seeing it Thursday night too because Star Wars geek here. So I'll probably end up seeing that, and then we'll probably, depending on when you see it, then we'll do the show.
I'll try to see it as soon as I can for you guys.
Not for us, Todd. For them.
I meant the royal guys, obviously. The royal we.
But that'll do it for this episode of Real Rants. If you haven't killed yourself already,
Deadpool will do it for you.
Yeah, Deadpool will do it for you. Or just wait, you may be dusted here pretty soon. But it's been real.
Oh, jeez. That's terrible.
I'm naughty.
We gotta go.
I've been a bad boy.
We got to go.
Anyway, that that is it for this edition of Real Rants. This is DJ signing off.
The very well-named Todd.
And Vern signing off.
And we will catch you on the flip side with Solo, hopefully a week from now. So, peace out, everybody.